coming out into the centre of the course. Racing alone over on the far side is Tremblay. They've gone a quarter of a mile, and there's little to choose between Tremblay over on the right. I think Tremblay is in fact just the leader. From King's Company, Most Secret, Mill Reef going easily in the centre of the leaders. Then Don Quixote and Green Guard are both up level with the leaders on the left. They're almost in line with the exception of Tremblay, who at halfway I think is still just in front. Tremblay just in front, and now Mill Reef has come smoothly up to come away from the others and join Tremblay in the lead. With a quarter of a mile to go, Mill Reef, who looks to me to be cantering, has gone into the lead from Green Guard, Grand Chaudière, Most Secret and King's Company. And as they come now to the final furlong, it's Mill Reef coming away in the most impressive style. Jeff Lewis has a quick peep over his shoulder. It's Mill Reef coming right away from Green Guard, Grand Chaudière, then Most Secret, King's Company and Gaillard, and Mill Reef winning tremendously impressively. This must be a very good colt indeed. Passing the post, Mill Reef the winner, Green Guard second, Grand Chaudière third, then Gaillard, King's Company and Most...
They're away. And Athens Wood and Lombardo, two of the first to show, with right up with them Credit Man, and it's Credit Man going up to join Athens Wood and Lombardo. Then comes Linden Tree, then Beaming Lee, then on the near side is Irish Bull, then comes Bourbon and Lapache. Behind Lapache is the Parson, then comes Mill Reef, and then Homeric, and the back marker at the moment is Zug, with Dapper Dan also one of those in rear, and Credit Man as they race up the hill with Linden Tree right upside him, and Beaming Lee also. Then towards the outside is Lombardo. Meaden's made good progress with Frascati and Lapache, and just in behind them come Bourbon. Just in behind Bourbon is Irish Ball, and then comes the Parson, and it's Linden Tree who's gone to the fall, and the back marker now is Toucan, and they're racing to the top of the hill now, and as they do so, it's Linden Tree in blinkers from Beaming Lee in second place. Frascati has gone third, then comes on the inside Meaden. On Meaden's outside is Credit Man, then comes Lombardo, Lapache and Sea Epic, and then Mill Reef. Behind Mill Reef is Bourbon, and then comes Zug, who's making very good progress. And Joe's Dream is the last at the moment as they race down towards Tatnam Corner, and it's Linden Tree in the lead, being pressed by Lombardo and Homeric, who's made very good progress towards the outside. Then comes Mill Reef. Just in behind Mill Reef is Beaming Lee with Frascati, and they're round the home turn now, and as they round it, it's Linden Tree in the lead, being pressed by Lombardo. Then comes Homeric, then Frascati, and then Mill Reef just in behind the leaders, and Jeff Lewis looking to be going very cosily at the moment, but it's Linden Tree in the lead from Lombardo second. Mill Reef has moved into third, then comes Homeric, then Athens Wood. They're past the 2 furlong marker, and it's Linden Tree from Lombardo, then comes Mill Reef in third place, then comes Homeric, and then Irish Ball on the outside. It's Linden Tree, Lombardo and Mill Reef striking the front now in the Derby, and Mill Reef going on now from Linden Tree on his inside. It's Mill Reef and Linden Tree into the final furlong. Mill Reef the leader, Linden Tree second, Irish Ball's finishing first, coming to the line, and Mill Reef's the winner. Linden Tree second, Irish Ball is third, and Cara.
2.5 furlongs to go, and Mill Reef has come through to take it up with Caro pressing him on this side. As they pass the 2 furlong marker, it's Mill Reef and Caro coming away with Quayside in third place, followed by Welsh Pageant. The 2 pacemakers have dropped out of it, and with 1.5 furlongs to go, it's Mill Reef from Caro. Mill Reef definitely clear of Caro with just over 1 furlong to go. A long way back in third place, Quayside, followed by Welsh Pageant. 150 yards to go, and it's Mill Reef coming away in magnificent style, well clear of Caro in second place. A good race for third place as they come up to the line. Mill Reef the winner, Caro second, Welsh Pageant third.
Ossian in the lead from Ortiz and Ramsar. Then comes Mill Reef tucked in just behind him on the inside. Then comes Hallez. Then Miss Dan, who's making good progress. Just in behind them, One for All, the American. Pistol Packer making ground wide towards the outside as they've got 4.5 furlongs to run now in the Arc de Triomphe. And as they race towards the home turn, Ortiz has come there very strongly. Sharapur holding his position. Then comes Ramsar on the inside. Royalty's fighting his way back into the picture. Miss Dan's coming there strongly towards the outside, with Pistol Packer also coming there. They've got 3.5 furlongs to run, and it's Sharapur who's hit the front with Hallez. Lester Piggott coming to take it up off him now, and it's Hallez from Mill Reef who's moved into second. Then comes Pistol Packer towards the outside, and it's Mill Reef on the far side who struck the front with 2 furlongs to run. Pistol Packer coming to challenge him. Then comes Caro and Hallez, and it's Mill Reef for England from Pistol Packer from France as they race into the final furlong. It's Mill Reef from Pistol Packer. Cambrizia is coming there strongly, but it's Mill Reef holding Pistol Packer. Cambrizia coming there on the line, but at the line, Mill Reef's the winner. Pistol Packer
already getting a tremendous reception from the crowd. The Derby winners hacked up. It's Mill Reef, the fantastic winner of the King George.
So we're here at the National Stud, where Memories, of course, retired in 1973. He made an incredible impact to the National Stud and, of course, the modern thoroughbred in general. He was champion sire on 2 occasions in 1978 and 1987, and it's an incredible part of our history here at the National Stud today.
Obviously, it's a huge honour to be remembering Memories this time, 50 years on. It's a horse who meant a huge amount to myself and my family. Obviously trained by my father 50 years ago. He's an exceptional 2-year-old, and I think he's one of the very few horses who've won a Gimcrack and a Derby and a Dewhurst and a King George and an Eclipse, and of course the King George here. So he was a fabulous racehorse.
Memories is, of course, regarded as one of the best racehorses of all time, and his stallion career definitely matches that when we go through the history books. We're very lucky Mr. Mellon decided to stand Memories here. There was substantial offers from the USA at the time. Memories was valued in around £2 million, which of course in that era was an astronomical amount of money for any horse. So it's quite amazing really. Throughout his 13-year career, Memories had 394 foals, which in nowadays, you know, from the amount of foals stallions have, is quite minuscule. But he still managed to have 63 black type winners, which equates to 16%. And when you equate that to the greats of our modern era, such as Dubois and Galileo, they always fluctuate around 12–13%. So 16% is quite amazing what he achieved. And on top of that, he also had 18 Group 1 winners, most notably Shirley Heights, and of course Reference Point, who was the Epsom Derby winner and the King George winner. One thing we do know from his time here was the kind nature Memories always possessed. All the records, which included obviously from his handler George Roth and the staff here, always alluded to that. He was such a kind horse with a great temperament. And to say really that's why he was able to overcome such a devastating injury and managed to become such a successful stallion. You know, that was really one of his true accolades while he was here, and what he's always remembered for was his general good temperament and kind nature. So Memories was such a popular icon really amongst the public, and when he retired to stud, he had many visitors. People used to love to come and visit him. And one thing to say always struck the people was his size. You know, the fact he was 15'2", and yet was just an incredible racehorse, and size didn't matter. He was such a successful 2-year-old, and from 6 furlongs to 1.5 miles was just an incredible racehorse. And what he achieved, and size never stood in his way, it really helped capture the people's attention and emotions, and people had that connection to the horse. Even after he's passed, they still received letters, received wreaths, and even the tours now, when they walk by the statue, everyone remembers Memories, everyone sees the grave, everyone knows who he is. And he's just left that imprint really on the public, and of course on the modern thoroughbred. So the famous words at the bottom of the statue is quite amazing, I find. It really shows the admiration Mr. Mellon had for Memories and the public in general. And of course these words were from his Gimcrack speech in 1970, and I feel with those words you can really connect to the horse and connect to what people felt when they saw Memories, when they saw him racing.
Already getting a tremendous reception from the crowd. The Derby winners packed up. It's Memories, the fantastic.
They're off in the Pre-Gannet, 2,100 metres, just over 1.25 miles, and Memories back in 5th place at the moment as Mary Slipper takes him along from Conquistador, Willie Carson, then comes Lester Pickett on Credit Man just in behind him, and then Memories was moved into 4th now, relegating Lombardo, Japanese owned now, to 5th place on his outside. Then comes El Toro just in behind them, racing up the hill, and Mary Slipper, Tommy Carter, taking him along from Conquistador on the inside, then Credit Man, then Memories. So British jockeys 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment in this Pre-Gannet, and it's still Mary Slipper in the lead from Conquistador, then Credit Man, then Jeff has eased Memories towards the outside, towards the right as we see them now, but still Mary Slipper in the lead from the white-faced Conquistador. Then Memories was moved into 3rd now and coming on the outside to join Conquistador. Then comes El Toro going strongly just in behind him. They're beginning to race towards into the home stretch now, and Memories is suddenly taken off from Conquistador and El Toro, and he's striding away from them, and Jeff Lewis a peep over his left shoulder, and another peep, and he'll need binoculars soon. He's really opened up a gap. This is the first time the French race crowd have seen him since he won the Arc de Triomphe, and they're really loving this, and they're giving him a great ovation, and Memories enjoying it too, and he's opening up a gap of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lengths as he strides away. You don't often see £30,000 prizes won with this ease. It's Memories and the rest nowhere.
but I've got a picture of it, and I've worked it back with a thumb.
It's nothing like 10.
It's 15. It's actually 15. It's just half a thumb off of 15, so it's 14 and a half lengths, you know. That was one of his greatest performances.
The little horse now seems unbeatable.
Reef coming away in magnificent style. As they come up the line, it's Bill Reef the winner.
This must be a very good colt indeed.
Ian, this year is the 50th anniversary of the birth of the great Mill Reef, and the Dubai duty-free Mill Reef Stakes is fast approaching. It must be a great honour, first of all, that Newbury have named a race after your great racehorse Mill Reef.
Yes, I love it. It's very nice that it's at Newbury, you know, where he performed once, and it's our local course and my favourite course. So,
do you still get that buzz when you go back to Newbury now, for example, for the Dubai duty-free Mill Reef, and think that you see his name, and does it all come back?
Yes, I do. I get quite a buzz out of it. Yeah.
And we know that you go every year. You present that trophy as well. You see some great horses winning the race. Can you go there and relax and just enjoy the experience and enjoy the day when you go back there to Newbury?
Yes, definitely.
The race, the over 6 furlongs for these 2-year-olds. You had a horse who won over 6 furlongs as a 2-year-old that developed and went on to be a middle distance horse, but we don't necessarily associate that with winners of the race. And I suppose we didn't associate that with Mill Reef initially. He was a quick horse as a youngster, wasn't he? But look what he turned out to do.
Yes, as I've said, I think I didn't expect him to be anything other than a brilliant 2-year-old. You know, he was the fastest thing I've ever seen going around the field out here. I can remember the first proper gallop he had, and it was up on our left-hand side, and I said to John, who was riding him, John Hallam, his lad, I said, look, just join the other horse and just let him go a stride faster. That's how I put it. Let him just go a stride faster. And suddenly he'd put 20 lengths between himself and Aldi, who was his lead horse, who was quite a useful horse. And I said, John, I've told you just to go a stride faster. He said, Governor, I promise you, that's all I was doing.
And just on him as a horse, as a physical specimen, was he not the biggest?
He was quite small. As a 2-year-old, he was small. I mean, 15.2. But very compact and looked very much a 2-year-old, you know, and I thought, well, if he's no good this year, he'll never be any good.
He was quite a good 3-year-old.
Yes. I thought he was the best 2-year-old I'd ever seen, and therefore, if he didn't win a Guineas, I would never win a Classic. And I just couldn't get over it when he was beaten in the Guineas. I couldn't believe it, you know. And it was such a shock. And I can remember Jeff Lewis. He had a nasty fall afterwards, and I went to see him in hospital that day. In a race afterwards, he had a fall. And I said, you know, we were so disappointed. We couldn't believe it. And he said, don't worry. He said, that horse is going to stay. I'm sure he'll win the Derby.
And actually, looking back at the Guineas, it might not have been the biggest field, but it was a pretty good one, because you were beaten by, at the time, one of the best milers we've ever seen, who eventually were. It was almost a shame, I suppose, that Mill Reef and Brigadier Gerard never got their middle distance match-up, wasn't it?
It was a shame, because it was due to be in the Eclipse, which would have been the perfect distance, over a mile and a quarter, for them to meet again. But it wasn't to be.
Mill Reef coming away in magnificent style. As they come up the line, it's Mill Reef the winner.
This must be a very good colt indeed.
So after a brilliant 2-year-old campaign, Milreath went on to be the exceptional 3-year-old that Connections hoped he would become, winning the Epsom Derby and going on to finish his season as the Arc winner at Longchamp. He was kept in training as a 4-year-old, but that year things didn't exactly go to plan. What are your memories from that incident on the gallops where he shattered that cannon bone?
It was just the most awful moment of my whole life, I think. Because I was standing watching him and moving, I thought, beautifully, and suddenly he sort of collapsed, you know. And it was just disastrous. It was just the most awful moment. And
but the wonderful thing is that what then was modern science, and it's progressed even more since then.
yes,
He had the most unbelievable operation performed on him by a genius here, and he got to have that career at stud. And what a genius it was, the doctor that operated on him.
Jim Roberts was the most amazing veterinary surgeon I've ever come across. Just an amazing man. And the whole operation was brilliant. I was there for every moment of it. And it was 7 hours. He operated on him, and he went and developed x-rays halfway through it, and so he could see exactly what he was doing.
Where was the operation?
It was in the colour room, where we have all the colours now, and it was a gymnasium originally.
And do you remember what a story it was developing at the time? The great Milreath, he has such an incident on the gallops, such a disastrous incident on the gallops, but then this life-saving operation is performed to save his leg. He then goes in a cast from shoulder right the way down. Can you remember how long he was in that for?
I can't remember how long. The operation, I've just never had so much admiration for a person as I had for Jim Roberts.
What he did to really groundbreaking stuff at the time.
Absolutely amazing. And then I can remember clearly, he said, now walk him lots, you know, when he came out of plaster. And we walked him, and he became, as I say, the best 3-legged walker you've ever seen. He'd walk around 100 miles an hour on 3 legs. And I eventually rang Jim Roberts, and I said, look, we just can't get him to put this leg to the ground. And he came down, he said, right, get me a pole, a broom handle. And so we found a broom, and he cut this thing exactly the right length, and then he cut the bits of rope on and attached them either end. So, and he attached it from his near fore to his off hind, so that he had to move his near fore forward. And suddenly he started walking. He had no option, but he'd fall down if he didn't. And within days, he was walking perfectly.
What sense? The sense of relief that he was okay. He could go on and have a career at stud. His legacy kept on must have been huge for you and the whole team here.
Yes, it was. I mean, we didn't know at that stage that he'd be okay to stand as a stallion. But it soon became obvious that he was walking so well, he'd be okay. The vet said he'd be okay to cover. And happily had the 2 best grooms I've ever come across who looked after him. That was John Hallam, who looked after him with us, and George Roth, who was this wonderful stallion man at the National Stud, who looked after him at Newmarket. And they were just the 2 best horsemen I think I've ever come across.
And wonderful as well, because it doesn't always happen with these champions, that he went on to be such the stallion that he was, producing Derby winners. I know you trained some excellent horses, Glint of Gold and the like, for Paul in those colours.
He didn't become the great stallion, I don't suppose, that everyone had hoped he might be. He sired two or three Derby winners, you know, so he was certainly a success, but he wasn't the great success that he'd been as a racehorse, probably as a stallion.
was there one race that you wouldn't have given up over any? A horse that won a King George, that won an Eclipse, that won a Derby, that won an Arc, and the 2-year-old races he won? Is there one race that was the one for you?
I think the Gimcrack, probably, because I didn't want to run. And thank God Paul Mellon was there, you know, and just made the decision. He said, I just have this funny feeling that everything will be all right and that we should run. And I just couldn't believe it. He went through the ground that day, which was as soft as any ground I've ever raced a horse on. He just went through it like it was firm ground. It was extraordinary.
And I think
just went further and further in front, you know.
When we look back on this horse in particular and these real champions going back through the years, it does take a lot to happen at the right time, doesn't it? The people coming together, yourself, yes. Jeff, Paul coming together with a great horse at the right time. Jeff, who rode him, I think, on every start, for example. These are some incredible people.
Yes. Well, I don't know if we were all incredible people, but we were just lucky to have this incredible horse.